G'day everybody, and welcome back to another Rosh Reviews, where today we are in a Torana. This is the SLR, and my goodness guys, the LX model, it's been fully redone. It's kind of a mock-up SLR 5000 now, and it's finally happened. It's taken over 3 years to find one of these things, and here in Melbourne, we're in the driver's seat. So strap up, people. Let's check out this Torana. Now under the bonnet, the owner has swapped in a 355 stroker. So this isn't the factory motor. It's not what an SLR 5000 would have even. And this thing is pushing some good power though. For a street car, this thing I think weighs just over like 1.2 ton. Could even be less actually, leave in the comments. But we're talking 438 rear wheel horses, and that's on the dyno. So yeah, for this type of a vehicle, it hooks. It's a bit intimidating. It's got a 4-speed manual, love to see that. And this thing, man, with its just super tiny, 3-spoke wheel here to steer this bad boy, it is absolutely wild. And the noise that just comes through fills the whole cabin. Jesus, this is a machine. What I absolutely love about sitting in the driver's seat here is just, there isn't anything fancy, staring at you. You just feel every bump in the road. You hear this motor so much, and you've got the world's tiniest little indicator stalk. The steering wheel is just so tiny. You really got to keep them revs up because it's you don't want this thing to stall. And you've got this absolutely massive bonnet scoop up the front. You can see the carby. And it rips, man. Now the Toranas here are an absolute icon here in Australia because they come out from 1967 till about 1979. And these things were kicking ass on the racetrack. I think even rally. And Peter Brock, he was in the driver's seat of one of these things for a long time. And yeah, this thing got very famous, and for good reason. It's just a platform. It's a muscle car that's miniaturized and, lightweight, big motor. It's a good recipe. They did actually make lesser spec versions of these things. So you could actually get these things, I think, in like a 4-cylinder, even like a 6-cylinder. And I think they were called the Sunbird. So the Torana SLR really was the one you wanted to get. And the SLR 5000, that's just, yeah, if you can get one of those original, geez, you're talking big money. Oh, for f***'s sake. Me dead. This is about a, you can't drive this thing slow. Get out of the way. Bloody trucks in Melbourne, mate. Man, you don't want to daily this thing because it's a big cam. Like, yeah, she ain't easy to drive slow, that's for sure. Now guys, let's just touch on price here, because back in 1976, one of these things was gonna set you back about 7,500 bucks. And yeah, not 75 grand, 7,500, because in the 70s, guys, that was a lot of money. And on the used market, guys, I'll tell you what, these things are expensive. We're talking at least 100 grand for, a nice kind of replica like this one is. It is an original SLR, remember, but it's not the SLR 5000. If you're gonna get original engine, original, everything, the numbers match, mate, these things can go from like $250,000 up. Now guys, in the comment section, please fill down some Torana facts, because I know this particular one is an LX, but there's a ton of different Toranas that came out. They were around for quite some time in the mid to late 60s up until the late 70s. So there's a lot of different things about these cars. There's a lot of cool facts. I'm not going to be able to cover them all. So share your knowledge down below. Hit the subscribe button. And yeah, this thing again, it's just amazing. The owner has just really gone to town with this thing. It's a full resto. He's done it in the orange now, so he's resprayed this thing orange. He's done the SLR 5000, look to it. It's got the decals on the side, on the back, the big wing, and just look at the size of this thing. It's so wide. And to have it in the 4-speed manual, it is so damn cool. It just sounds awesome. The seats, they don't got any bolstering to them. It's so noisy in this cabin. Again, like, I can barely hear myself think. This is one of the coolest cars I've ever been in. It's totally different to what I'm used to. I'm used to big power, big speed. It's just got that totally different nature to it. It's rough, it's in your face. You can feel it from the steering wheel to the seat to your feet in the pedals. And the noise goes right through you. It hits you in the chest. And it's not quick. I would really say to any standard, modern standard. But let's not forget, back well over this car. Let's do the math. 1976. It's the last of the SLRs. And Jesus, that's got to be what, a 50-year-old car? My quick maths is struggling here, but I think it's what, 50 plus years old. And this is insane. And again, just having this thing out here in the country, we're in the hills of Melbourne. It is just quite the car, quite the treat, and I cannot thank the owner enough, because he's trusted me with this thing. He didn't even want to sit in the back, so yeah, we're having fun. Now guys, I'm not going to be doing a 0 to 100 in this car, because for obvious reasons, it's an old car, and I do not want to be the one responsible for putting this thing into limp mode or something like that. I'm sure it can handle it, but again guys, it's out of respect for the owner, and just keep me feeling a little bit safer as well. I really don't know what this thing would get. I can't imagine it's insanely quick, but again, it's the experience, the raw feeling, the drive of this car that really makes this something else. No power steering in this girl, and you got to be moving when you're turning the wheel. And again, just from all the little old school things in this car, it's just such an experience to drive. Again, guys, I don't know everything there is to know about these things, but just showing it off. Look at this thing cruising down the road. It just looks tough. It's mean, it's aggressive. It sounds $1 million. And yeah, I had to jump on the chance to show this thing. Now, I don't know if this is true, but I actually read a rumor that South Korea actually produced a couple of these things, and I think they sold them there as Chevrolet 1700s. That just sounds absolutely crazy to me, but I mean, it's possible. I don't know. Leave it in the comments if that's an actual fact. I really am curious. Now, another thing I did read on the internet was that Torana actually may have been an Aboriginal word, and I think it was supposed to translate to fly. So because this thing was just so dominant, on the racetrack and back in the 70s, it was just the car to have basically for Holden, and to fly, it kind of makes sense. Now, I'm going to finish the video off here today, guys. So look, a huge thanks to the owner for bringing down his LX Torana here. This is, without a doubt, just one of the most special cars I've probably had on the channel. Just the history here in Australia, how well done this one is being built. The stroker, just the paint color, the SLR 5000, you know, just perfectly matched. The wide body on this thing, the 4-speed. It's a dream car. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you're new here, and we will see you on that next video.